Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to carry on with our decimal work. We're going to add and subtract whole numbers and decimal numbers. This question here asks us to use the number lines to help complete the calculations below. 5 plus 3.9. So as we can see, we have a whole number here at 5, and 3.9 is made up of a whole number and a decimal. It's made up of 9/10. So if we use a number line to help us work this out, we start at 5 and we need to add 3.9. So the easiest way would be just to add on your whole number, which would be adding your 3. 5 plus 3 would take us to 8. And then add on the decimal, which is 9/10, which is written as 0.9. And 8 plus 0.9 would take us to 8.9. Same again for the second one, 32 plus 6.3. So we start at 32, 6.3 made up of 6 wholes. So I'm going to add the 6 first of all. That would bring me to 38. And then I'm going to add the 3/10. And 3/10 is written as 0.3. 38 plus 0.3 would take us to 38.3. So I'd like you to pause now and complete question 1 on Seesaw. Ruth and Jamal are both attempting to calculate 5 plus 3.7 mentally. Mentally is when we do it in our heads. Ruth says, I started at 5 and then added 3, then added 0.7, which is exactly what we were doing with our number line just now. 5 plus 3 plus 0.7. Her answer would have been 8.7. Excuse my writing, quite tricky. Jamal says, I started at 3.7 and added 5. So he did it the other way round. 3.7, add 5. Would he have got the same answer? Well, I'm sure you all know that absolutely, yes. They would have both had the same answer. With addition, it doesn't matter which way you do it. You can do 5 plus 3.7 or 3.7 plus 5. It doesn't matter. So thinking about that, if we had to do this mentally, I could do 6 plus 2 plus the 0.7, which would give me 8.7. Or I could do 2.7 plus 6, which would also give me 8.7. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Okay, what also doesn't matter is whether the actual calculation is on the left-hand side of the equal sign or on the right-hand side, like it is here. This equal sign means balanced. Whatever is on this side must be the same as what is on this side. So 32 plus 4 would be 36, plus the 0.5 would be 36.5. Or I could have said 4.5 plus the 32 would give me exactly the same answer. Okay, now with takeaway, we obviously have to start with our bigger number here. All right, we're not going to say 4 take away 8.9. 8.9 take away 4, I'm going to do exactly what I was doing before. Because the 4 is a whole number, it doesn't have any decimals. So I can say 8 take away 4 is 4, and there's 0.9, take away nothing here. So I'm left with 0.9. Again, 15.3 take away 7. 7 is a whole number. It doesn't have any decimals, so I can say 15 take away 7, which will leave me with 8. And 0.3 take away nothing is 0.3. James says you must use the column method to find the sum of 14 and 4.73. Do you agree? Now, sometimes we use the column method when sums are too difficult for us to work out in our heads. But what we've seen here, we can just do this mentally. It's more efficient. It's quicker. 14 plus 4 is 18, plus 0.73 would give me 18.73. So it's an efficient way sometimes just to do things in our heads, but only when it is appropriate. Okay, so mentally, all right, there's a space here, 5.87 plus something equals 11.87. Now I can see the decimal here is the same, so I'm just going to concentrate on my whole numbers. How do I get from 5 to 11? Well, I add 6, of course. I didn't need to do a column. I would have done a column subtraction to work that out. I didn't need to do that. I could do it in my head. It's much quicker. Okay, so press the pause button and complete questions 2 to 5 on Seesaw. All right, so here we have a table with different questions. Some friends have taken part in a sponsored run. The table shows how far they each ran. So we've got their names and the distance they ran in kilometers. So how far did Ahmed and Jamal run combined? So that means how far did they run all together? So Ahmed ran 4 kilometers, Jamal ran 4.72. Very easily add those two quickly in my head. 4 plus 4 is 8, and the 7.2, so it's 8.72. Now, because it's a distance, I need to put my unit of measurement in. So it's 8.72 kilometers. Make that look more like a 7. How far did Ruth and Chen run combined? Well, Ruth ran 6, Chen ran 5.5, 6 plus 5, 11, and the 0.5 would make it 11.5 kilometers. And then the last question, what would be the total if Ruth had run double the distance and combined her total with Yasmin? Now, doubling, we know, is when we times by 2. Okay, if we double, we times by 2. I'm terrible with using this pen. So Ruth doubled her distance, so she ran 12 kilometers. Wow, that's a good amount of distance to run. And Yasmin ran 3.58. So 12 plus 3 is 15, and 0.58 is adding on to nothing else, so we'd leave it with 0.58. So our answer is 15.58 kilometers. Okay. Complete the rest of the questions on Seesaw.